morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to go ahead and look at a Claydol card that I'm going to be honest with you, right? When I first saw this Claydol card, I totally overlooked it. I didn't think it was particularly good. I didn't think it was going to make any waves. I thought it was going to be a very disappointing card. And the more I look at it, the more I think it could be absolutely awesome. Now, it's got 120 HP. The HP becomes largely irrelevant. We'll look at that in a minute. 120 HP for a stage 1 is fine. It's about what we would expect. Retreat cost of 2 is higher than we'd like, but we've got Balloon now, so that largely mitigates the retreat cost. We've got a weakness to Grass, which is honestly fine. Grass decks aren't good, and if they ever are good, Welder decks, which are playing fire energy and therefore probably have some fire attackers, will keep them down quite nicely. And being a fighting Pokemon means we can use Diancie Prism Star to do some extra damage, Martial Arts Dojo to do some extra damage, and of course Karate Belt to reduce our attack cost. Plus we're hitting weakness on colourless Pokemon like Silvally and lightning Pokemon like Raichu and Alolan Raichu, and it's starting to look pretty good. We like it. Now, there is a first attack here. The first attack is underwhelming and we're not going to spend much time on it. 1 colourless energy, 30 damage plus confusion. And that's fine. But it's not particularly good. It's not particularly inspiring. It's not really what we're going for here. In an emergency, if you've got nothing better, I mean, look, Confusion still makes your opponent flip a coin if they want to attack, and if tails, they take 30 damage and don't do the attack. 30 damage isn't great, but with Diancie Prism Star, you're up to 50. With a Martial Arts Dojo, you're up to 60, or if you're behind on prizes, 90. So you can actually build up quite a lot of damage quite quickly. Certainly, you can be 2-hit KOing something like a Pikachu and Zekrom while confusing them. And Confusion is... it's a little bit underrated, I think, as a special condition. Because either your opponent has to wait a bunch of resources, either retreating or switching out of it, or they've got a 50% chance of just failing the attack. And I have seen so many people waste so many resources rather than do the flip. You can put your opponent in a really awkward situation. Certainly if your opponent gets free energy on a Pikachu and Zekrom, if they full blitz and hit heads, they get free energy on a second Pokemon, or I suppose 6 on their active. But if they flip tails, you're probably going to KO them again, and then they're out, and they've got no energy on the board. And that's bad. They can retreat, but then trying to get a new Pokemon in the active with free energy, unless they've got some kind of switch, tag switch combination, it's going to get kind of awkward. So you can buy yourself time with this attack, and you can give yourself just a bit of a cheeky advantage, is a phrase I want to use. It's not something that's going to win you the game, and look, if you want single energy Confusion, you want something like Xurkitree that's a basic with the same HP. Although, to be fair, you've got better damage modifiers for fighting. Either way, it's a nice bonus, but it's not something that's really gonna be the reason you play the card. The reason you play the card is the second attack. Now, I should mention our translations here all come from the lovely David Hockman over at limitlesstcg.com/translations. Lovely dude, very helpful. And I would consider him a good personal friend. But the attack, according to David, 2 fighting energy, 200 damage, and then 120 to yourself. Now, the 200 damage is huge. We'll get to that in a minute. But initially, we need to go, hang on a second. 120 to ourselves? Surely that's a KO. Well, I mean, yes, but no. Yes, but we can stop it. You do 120 damage to yourself. You have 120 HP. So I suppose straight off the bat, yeah, you do KO yourself. Now, here's the thing. KOing yourself might not always be bad. Let's say you're up against a Snorlax VMAX. I use that as an example because it's the biggest fighting weak Pokemon we've got. It also happens to be the biggest Pokemon we've got, incidentally. You'll get a really easy KO on that. You'll take 3 prizes, and giving up 1 doesn't really matter. Now, the real downside here is, let's say you KO yourself, then you put another Pokemon up and your opponent just KOs that. Now you've essentially taken 3 prizes in one turn and your opponent's taken 2, or maybe you've taken 2 and they've taken 2, and it gets kind of awkward. Alright, but we got ways to survive this. Now, let's be clear, you're not going to survive this for long. But what you're essentially going to do is not KO yourself, forcing your opponent to use their attack for the turn to KO you, and that is A-OK by me. You're taking 3 prizes, or 2 hopefully. They're taking 1. That's going in your favour. Even against a non-GX deck, you KO them, and then they KO you. It's 1 prize each. But to be super clear, if you're winning the game with this attack, or taking a 4 prize lead, or something along those lines, yeah, obviously. But do please be careful about actually KOing yourself with this. No, ladies and gentlemen, what is far more important is trying to make sure you survive. Now, the card we want is Protection Cube. We don't have it, incidentally. It came out in Flashfire. It was actually designed for Mega Charizard, but it rotated out when Flashfire rotated out. It's gone, boo, hiss, etc. Okay. That would stop all self-damage. An attack like this with Protection Cube prevent all damage done to the Pokemon this card is attached to by attacks it uses. Yes! That would be phenomenal. But again, it's a moot point. We don't have it. What we do have, however, is that new Big Charm or Giant Charm or I don't know. Whatever it might actually end up being called when it comes out over here. The point is, that gives you an extra 30 HP. You can't use buff padding because you ain't got a retreat cost of 4, but you absolutely can use Giant Charm. Giant Charm gives you an extra 30 HP. So that means that you've got 150 HP, you do 120 to yourself, you survive. Now, if we had good tool removal, this would be riskier. We saw this with Fighting Fury Belt. You take 120 damage, but you are saved by Giant Charm. Your opponent drops a Field Blower, Giant Charm gets discarded, you get KO'd. The thing is, we don't have Field Blower in the format at the moment, we've got Faber. And as I've said in a bunch of videos, yeah, Faber sees some play in some decks, but not in that many. And if your opponent's not playing tool removal, and the majority of the decks at the moment aren't playing tool removal, just because we don't have any good tool removal, then Giant Charm will help you survive. That, I think, is where this comes in. And now all of a sudden, you're hitting 200 damage, except it's not 200 damage. When we're talking about fighting Pokemon, I often do the calculation. Let's assume we're behind on prizes. Diancie Prism Star plus 20, Martial Arts Dojo plus 40, Vitality Band plus 10. Oh look, that's 270. 270 is tag team KOing territory. That's Mewtwo and Mew, that's Reshiram and Charizard. That is, in fact, the vast majority of tag team GXs. It is every Pokemon V. I mean, the biggest Pokemon V we've seen so far is Zamazenta that comes in at 230. Well, yeah, that's Diancie Prism Star and Martial Arts Dojo if you're not behind on prizes. So you are getting key KOs here. You should be taking 2 or 3 prizes. Now, I mentioned Vitality Band there. Do please remember that if you're playing Vitality Band, you cannot also be playing Giant Charm. But this is a risk-reward thing. You might need that Vitality Band to go up to 270. Okay. So I don't get the Giant Charm, so I am KOing myself. But having said that, do I really care, given that I'm taking 3 prizes? And the answer is probably not. Now, we do need to mention the energy here. We don't have great energy acceleration. I keep mentioning we got the Groudon from Cosmic Eclipse, but that's a sit in the active and attach with your attack. It's not that great. But we do have Karate Belt. Now, Karate Belt, if you're behind on prizes, reduces the attack cost by 1 fighting energy, but then by the same token, that's also a Pokemon tool. And that's a bad thing because we've already mentioned we kind of need Giant Charm. But it is an option if you're willing to get yourself KO'd and you don't need the extra 10 from Vitality Band. Really, this is going to shine in the expanded format. In expanded, this gets nuts. Because all of a sudden, we've got counter energy. Now, counter energy isn't a basic fighting, so we will be turning off Martial Arts Dojo. But you can always play something like Shrine of Punishment if you really care, so we're alright with that. Because we don't even want Martial Arts Dojo in Expanded. We want Training Center. Training Center gives you an extra 30 HP. Although your opponent can just replace the stadium and then you will get KO'd. But, it happens. So now you're doing the extra 30 HP with Training Center. And now we don't really need Giant Charm anymore, so now we can play, for instance, Choice Band, or we can play Muscle Band, and all of a sudden we've got 200, with Dynasty Prism Star is 220, with Choice Band is 250, and you can pay it for a counter energy. You can also play Strong Energy in Expanded, but that's not going to make it any faster, so I don't know how good that is. My point very simply is, we have got an awful lot of good options in Expanded that make it even better. But let's not sleep on the fact that this works in Standard. It works very well in Standard. I don't think you're going to make a Claydol deck. What I do think you're going to do is make yourself a deck and put this in as a tech. Maybe you play something like a Alolan Ninetales, and then you can grab a Karate Belt and an Energy Spinner and pay this in one go. That could work. I just think there's a lot of potential here. 200 damage for 2 energy on a stage 1 is gigantic. I think this is going to sneak in as a tech into a few decks moving forward, and I think it's something we need to be prepared for. But I'd like to know what you think. So, oh wait, no. Wassy score between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. Whew, can't believe I almost forgot. How silly of me. Now it's time for you to tell me what you think. Go nuts in the comment section, but do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where you can, well, find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.